Okay, if I can have everybody's attention, please. Are we going up here, Miss Shannon? Sorry. Can you hear me now? All right. Everybody hear us okay? All right. Well, welcome this afternoon. We've had it's been a hot day outside, and a lot going on this time of year. We have if you don't have a copy of our agenda, we have extra copies on the podium in the front. We'll be glad to get you a copy. If you don't have one, today is Monday, June the 18th. Today we're having a called meeting as well as a public hearing. Actually, public hearing come first, and called meeting is what we're going to be in this evening. We've got several items on the agenda, and I'm going to try and move us along as efficiently as possible. So we hereby call this meeting to order. Again, I'll reiterate, today's Monday, June the 18th, and I've actually got 4:31, so we're past 4:30. And at this time, I'd like Dean Dyer, would you do the invocation, please, for our meeting, please?
Think about our kind and gracious Heavenly Father. We lift up to you our thoughts and our prayers, our thanks, Lord, for this day you've given us. And hopefully, Lord, we have in some way have made it beneficial to you and for our community as well. Thank you for the beautiful sunshine. And even though we may complain hot temperatures, Lord, you remind us that you can send us rain in buckets sometimes. But just keep us mindful of the conditions we have and the wonderful area we can live in. Thank you for these commissioners who take care of the business here and take responsibility of guiding our government and give them wisdom and judgment in the things they do and say. We ask your blessings on all that are here, that we may look to you, Lord, for your kind and judgment in our lives. All these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Dean. All right. At this time, I want to ask our County Manager, Mr. Melton, to conduct our second presentation of proposed 2018 budget fiscal year for the White County government. Mr. Melton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Everyone hear me okay? This is a little bit of a modified version of what I presented last week. We're going to go into greater detail, but we are going to get the highlights of the fiscal year 2019 proposed budget. We'll start off with many of the highlights, first being the salary increase for county employees, new positions that were added as directed, capital funding items, all projects are coming out of SPLOST. The use of some fund balance, more than likely, and probably a millage rate increase. Just to give you a little history, the 5-year millage rate history is up on the slide. As you can see, from 2014 to 2016, it was 9.168, and then in 2017 and 2018, it went to 9.99. So it's been pretty level for the last 5 years. Also, the 5-year history on the general fund, you can see the approved budgets and the amended budgets for the last 5 years from 2014 through fiscal year 2018. Again, it's been pretty flat. Haven't been much of an increase in the budget. All right, the 2019 general fund proposed budget. We're proposing a budget of $18,925,734. You see that's broken down in a pie chart showing where that money's going by fund. The largest being public safety, 48.7% of the budget, and then all the other areas of government, general government being second, and smaller portions going to the rest of the different funds. Then we have our separate funds, which account for $4,734,665 for the budget. And you can see here how that is broken down. E91 being the largest portion of that, and then the Yonah Judicial Circuit being the next largest portion. Hotel motel tax, which is really an in and out fund, and then drug task force compromising another large portion of that budget. Again, the 2019 proposed budget, general fund $18,925,734. The other funds, the separate funds, $4,737,665. For a total budget of $23,663,399. Comparing that with last year's budget of $16,938,774 for the general, and $4,214,670 for the general fund, or the separate fund. That total budget was $21,153,444. We're looking at an 11.865% increase for $23,663,399. And just in summary, again, the proposed expenditures and the proposed revenues, and the available fund balance is $4,046,239. And with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions that the board or anything you have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Melton. All right. As I stated earlier, this is our second presentation of the proposed budget. The first being a week ago today. Today being the second presentation. Gentlemen, at this moment, do you have any questions for Mr. Melton before I proceed to the actual public hearing or receive public comment?
I got one question right here. I know that we've had this $2 increase for remaining employees in this budget thing the whole time. I don't ever recall that we had a formal vote to say that we were going to give a pay raise.
Well, that'll be done within this.
I mean, when we pass the budget, the pay raise will be here.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we haven't. We never really had any discussion on the board about that, and it was. I guess it was assumed that the sheriff got his, and all the other employees could get one too. So that and the fact that there's this budget is based on a millage increase, because it's plugged in here already, and I don't even think that most of the people, I mean, 3 of us I know didn't really know that the millage increase proposed in here was 11 1/4.
I can't answer that question. The fact that you haven't
Well,
read your package, that's
Well,
Mr. Melton and Ms. Jody, the package we've received in the last few weeks have referenced millage rates of 11 1/4. Am I incorrect?
No, that's correct, Mr. Chairman.
it had a reference to 11 1/4.
No, it was based upon 11
It was based upon 11 1/4.
And that was based upon discussions we had here in this meeting.
I don't recall this discussion. I guess overall, I know we got to pass a budget, but it just kind of steers me the wrong way that we pass a budget that we make a big millage increase. And we're doing this because we gotta give pay raises. And I know, I'm looking right here, we got what, six new employees and 3 part-time. But that's what, 300, 400,000 of the money right there, but and I'm not saying I'm not voting for it. I just really, and this new change sheet right here, I didn't get it till last week, so. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Any other comments before I open the floor to the community? Okay. All right. At this time, we're going to receive public comment. As we did last week, we'll do the same thing this week. If you have a comment, whether it's pro, con, or just a comment in general regarding the finances of the county, raise your hand and I'll get to you as quickly as we can. If you would, please state your name and address for the record so we can get that officially. I would appreciate that. If you would, if you want, you don't have to. I don't want anybody to feel pressure, but it's like conducting our public hearings for land use. Sometimes you have comments and sometimes you don't. So at this time, I'll open the floor up and I'll scan the room a couple of times. All right, going once.
Let me just ask, Mr. Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
All capital outlay that was proposed in the budgets shifted over to SPLOST.
That's correct. That's what we've done historically the last few years because of the economy. Am I correct, Mr. Melton? If I'm wrong with something, please say something.
That's correct.
All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Going twice? Okay. All right. Kevin, is there anyone out in the foyer, just in case? I don't want to, we're all good. Okay. All right, well, folks, I'll hereby close the public hearing section of our public hearing, and appreciate you guys coming out. Now we're going to move into, did you have a comment, Mr. Brian?
I do. Terry, I'm like you, we do so much I can't remember it all. And where the 11 1/4 come was the last meeting, and I'm not saying we would go to 11 1/4. I remember asking Mike and them to figure this on 11 1/4, but on the but side, which I know we're $1,186,000 more than what we was last year, but we give the raise at Christmas time last year, so we had to do that budget adjustment for half a year. We give the sheriff some in April, so we know that we're going to have to pull out of reserve. But with everybody's appraisals going up, and what we always have left over at the end of the year, which is always a miracle every year, you'll hear me say it every year, I don't think it's going to be that bad. I mean, and I may be wrong. I'll say something else too. I think that we're looking at doing our budget January 1st, which I know some of us kind of talked about that, so we wouldn't have this problem. So like every year, we always bump against the end of time trying to figure out how our tax digest is going to be.
Well, for the record, I'm waiting on Mr. Pilgrim to supply to us the advantages and or disadvantages. He actually left me a message this afternoon that he's working on it.
That's good.
So that the board, if the board were to be so inclined to make a change from a fiscal year to a calendar year, we would have the information to review in the coming weeks. I don't have it in my hand, or no one does.
What's that gonna be if we call it? You'd have to do two.
1 6 month, we need to get back on
You'd
schedule.
have to go out 6 months and do it again, right? The auditors don't get everybody on the calendar.
Well, we go to do this every year. It's always the last week or the last day.
Make it a lot easier on us, and then it's like a guessing game. We go through this for the last, 4 years, I know.
15.
15.
Well, you can't run this like you run a normal business based on.
That's right.
One thing I do want, for those in the audience, at this time, we're actually going to be attempting to pass a budget. All right. And then,
How we gonna pay for it?
and then, this is the way state law was set up. Come the end of July, 1st of August, that at that time, once we have the formal tax digest from the assessor's office, we will know what the tax commissioner will be taking to the state, and we'll know where our tax digest actually is at that moment. So for a simple description, we pass a budget, then we figure out how to, we're already thinking ahead, as you can tell by the conversations we're having up here, but we'll have hard data by the end of July or so where the tax digest will be, and that'll be the determining factor whether or not, if, how much, presumably so, we could possibly have a millage increase. That'll be the time we'll actually be setting that particular number. As of today, the current millage rate is 9.998. Did I get my nines right? So, having said that, there's no other comments. Okay.
I just happen to have it, just for the people in the audience. I know we talk about millage increase and all that, but I want to let everybody know that we are frugal with our money, because when I come in office in '04, I got a 15-year charter. '03, it went to 8 1/4, and we're sitting at 99.9. So in 15 years, I mean, we ain't going up. Even if we went at 11 1/4, and I'm just saying if, you know, it's only a 4.45 in 16 years, which is 0.02781 per year for 16 years. So I do want to let everybody know, you know, we all up here agree, disagree, but we are frugal with the cash. I mean, we try to run this like a business. So if there is an increase, I look at it's going up on my taxes just like it is y'all's too. So
That's my comment, we all pay taxes too.
I just decided that
Like
just
to
so
buy
everybody.
what y'all do.
I don't want to prolong, I'm just going to look around, make one more time, any other comments?
Well, based on the numbers that we're looking at today, even with the digest numbers being where they're at, if this board decided that we had the money to leave the millage rate alone, we'd still have to have a public hearing on the millage rate because we're getting an increase off of the tax digest. So just keep that in mind.
So regardless, we're looking at possibly we had to have 3 public hearings. I'm sorry, I leaned away from the microphone, but Ms. Shanda, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Under state law, come July and August, we still got, even with the digest going up, unless we have to roll back, we've got to have 3 public hearings, advertised how many weeks in advance?
With the increase, we already know that there will be to the digest, the rollback rate would be higher than your current millage rate, so
That goes back to what you're
you
saying.
would still have to have you would still have to advertise a millage increase even if you maintain the same, I'm sorry, your rollback rate's gonna be less than your current millage rate, so if you maintain the same millage rate, you would have to advertise a tax increase, unless you lowered the millage rate.
Well, and one last thing, and I'm going to ask for a motion on item 4 in just a moment. If this budget hypothetically is adopted here in a little bit, gentlemen, and I think we're all in agreement, we as a board have got to do a better job when it comes to our performance evaluations, merit increases. We have got to get those on a routine basis so that from a budgetary perspective that we're not caught behind the 8 ball annually, so that departments, our constitutional officers, such as the sheriff, can adequately manage their departments in a more efficient manner. So that's free. All right. Item 4 is consider adopting the 2018-19 budget as presented. Gentlemen, do I have a motion to adopt the budget as presented?
Motion approved.
Mr. Bryant first. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Hoffman second. Due to the complexity of the issue, I will ask, is there any additional discussion amongst the board? Okay. Having done, I have a motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, and if you would, please, because this is the budget, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no.
No.
Okay. From what I've heard, motion carries 4-1. All right. Thank you. Thank you to staff for your work. We appreciate it. And now we'll kind of pull up our britches and start focusing. Do we have a timeline on when the assessor's office will be having to us the final digest? Have we heard anything?
No, sir.
Normally we receive that around July 15th, give or take.
Mid-July. But I don't have a date.
Okay. Would you please reach out to our Mr. Payne, our chief tax assessor, and see if he's got some, be sharpen his pencils, if he can give us some dates approximately, so that we can all on the board, because we've got to start planning schedules out for the end of July and 1st of August. And Ms. Shanda, under the tax digest law and so on, how many weeks in advance do you have to be advertising village histories and so on? Do you recall?
Everything's on a 7-day, at least 7 days ahead schedule. Usually we put everything together and run it in one ad 7 days before the first hearing.
And you're gonna have one hearing in the morning, one hearing in the afternoon?
If you have 2 hearings in the same day, one has to be before noon and one has to be after, I think, 6 p.m.
And then you can't adopt your millage rate until you actually had your 3rd public
Right.
hearing, considering the tax digest has got
And we can't adopt our millage rate until the school board adopts theirs.
Okay. Please make that note. We are the last line, so the school will have to receive digests from the cities of Cleveland and the cities of Helen, as well as, of course, the school board. And we can't have our final meeting until those entities, am I saying this correctly, have all their items set. So we're the last line, but we're also the last to be able to get everything advertised and what have you. So if you'll reach out to, since Dr. Wilson, has Dr. Wilson officially left employment with the Board of Education?
I don't think he leaves till 1st of July.
Okay, you can reach out to him or their finance officer and see how they're coming along on their proposed dates.
I'll call Trish.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Item 5, consider approval of a final design for the proposed football field at Yonah Preserve. We've been dealing with proposed concepts, but this evening we're needing to solidify the actual location. Mr. Hamby, you or Mr. Melton, who's got the hill on that one?
Mr. Hamby.
And just for the record, I know Mr. Crumpton is wanting to address the board in a few minutes regarding this subject, so I'm going to go ahead and lay that groundwork.
Just real quickly to give an overview, if you remember, board elected to sell bonds, and about a year ago, believe it or not, it's been about a year ago, we proceeded in the design process understanding we had a limited budget, and so working with Carter and Sloop and estimators and those kind of things, we went through 3 different options. We very carefully looked at the project design and the budget we had and went with the concept that we could get the most amenities for the amount of money we had. And completed design based on a series of meetings and financial analysis, geotech, rock, water, terrain, all those kind of things were factored in to the decision to go with the concept. We then put that out to Structure Management at Risk, brought Charles Black to the table. The board awarded the project to them, and here we are today with we're under construction for the concept that's been awarded to Charles Black, and the concept that was decided to move forward with based off all of our investigation studies and engineering design.
All right. Mr. Melton, you've got some information, I know, from Mr. Stover regarding those Have those information been shared with the board?
Yes, sir, we have a drawing, if the board would like to review it, based upon the.
I think it'll be.
The latest version of what we've come up with, Mr. Chairman, for one field only at this time.
And for those audience, we're going to put this copy up in just a few minutes up front, so.
The other,
It's this field right here.
the original design, field here, field here. This would be just the one right here.
So this is this is the same thing as that?
Yeah.
No, except it's turned.
No,
It's
this is not the same thing. This is turned.
Turn the top right, turn the corner to your right.
The green is the same as that?
No.
right?
No, it's turned. It's turned. We just had John revise this today.
I think it's just that needs to be cocked.
Yeah.
Turn more like this.
It's this footprint.
It's right here.
No, this is this footprint right there. Okay, here. Yeah.
Okay, and that puts it 540 feet, or nearly 2 football fields in length away from the Mr. Crumpton. And Mr. Crumpton, we're going to get to you in just a few minutes, as well as 335 feet from Mr. Canals as well, correct?
That's
My reading is correct.
That's correct. 330 and 540.
Yes, 540, 335.
Where were we originally with this?
It was,
The back door.
Well, this was here, but then there was another one here.
that was proposed.
The second one.
Here, you can see this.
Yeah. I know.
Let's do this. Let's place it on the there. You'll do it right now. Okay.
Kevin, I got a question. You've been on the ground floor, and we all have been in and out. Just like what Terry said a minute ago, he don't recall, I'm gonna have to do that. I don't recall us ever talking about even grading for a second field. Seemed like in the conversation, we set that table, and I did make a comment that, while we got it down, we can go ahead and grass the one, and get it there, but I don't remember us talking about grading the second field. Did I miss that meeting, or is that just something that y'all decided, or
No.
what we're doing? I mean,
It was in that concept and that what's in the construction package, excuse me. What's in the construction package is the rough grading. So in order to, I guess, clear, it's gonna have to clear the site anyway, so it's rough graded. The fine grading, the irrigation, the sports turf, the grassing for the fields, all that stuff was never in the concept. It's just basically like your yard. It's not sports turf. And that's been in there ever since day one.
okay, like I said, if I missed it, I missed it. I mean, it's putting intention, but I just don't remember. I just remember us talking about the one field, with the grass and possibly, while we was there. Of course, I know we've never originally, you talked about not doing anything on it, but I just wondered if you could refresh my memory, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, and the idea was to do the mass grading while we were there with all the equipment and whatnot and the rough grading. And then if we had money, if the prices came in good and we had money to do the final ball fields, which would again be the irrigation, the turf, the sports field itself, that the mass grading would be complete and you'd be able to move forward, almost like a phase 2.
Well, and actually, in the segue, and I'm saying this, we're actually going to, we have a cost estimate that'll be item 7 in your book that we'll be getting to after this item. I'm sorry, item 6, excuse me. Item 6 is actually a cost estimate of finishing one football field, which includes the irrigation, what you were alluding to, Mr. Hamby. So items 5 and 6 on our agenda are both connected. So,
So basically, all we're doing is we're going from the concept of just grassing it for we was talking about a practice field, just pricing it where kids could play on it, practice on it, or they wanted to go ahead and make it a field. Well, just one, yeah.
And we had a price to do both fields, to upgrade both fields to, official regulation football fields. Since, conversations have kind of progressed a little bit and evolved, and, now we're talking about maybe just doing one field.
All right. Any more questions for Kevin? Hang around. We might be coming back.
There was a PowerPoint presentation that we did that had all that in the cost estimate.
And we sat through some budget, talked about some budget, that's why I asked, I don't remember.
It was a schematic design PowerPoint presentation we did.
Before I get Dr. Crumpton to come up and speak, our goal in this whole project is to attempt to, number one, be good neighbors to all parties involved. That's why the board incorporated a 100-foot undisturbed buffer around the project. And that goes all the way back to the creek at the new bridge that we put in, or constructed last year. And, gentlemen, I'll be direct. If it means, just doing number one field, as well as keeping the angles such that it improves and keeps strong relations with the community, I feel like we need to do so.
Well, I guess the question is, have we intruded in that 100-foot buffer?
No. Kevin, come have a seat. Dr. Crumpton, come on down.
I'm driving.
Yes.
I can't. My name is John Crumpton, 920 Malden Road. My property backs up to the project that you guys have going. The last time that I stood before you was in 2014. And at that time, I spent the previous 6 to 8 months on this OTD committee report. And I was made the chairman of that committee by you guys. Travis came to me and asked me if I would be the chairman of that committee. And the reason Travis did that was because of the location of my property. Can I approach the screen and just show you, just to give you a reference pointer? Just to give everyone here, the commissioners know this, but here's the existing rec department. Okay. Here is Asbestos Road. Here's the existing rec department. My home is here. Okay? My home is here. If you could go to slide 6. In fact, I'm not going to do this whole report. No. Stay there. Go like that. And then you shift PowerPoint. It's the one y'all have. You should be able to go. Just go slowly so don't miss it. Keep going. It's a lot of time on this. It was many Fridays spent working on this project for all the reasons I explained. So stop there. I'm going to approach again. What you see here is recommended uses and activities. Everything that we spend time working on is on that. Everything. From bike trails to mixed use to ball fields, everything. Again, the blue and the yellow lines that you see is the bike trail that opened recently, the sections of it. The green there is obviously the watershed. Again, my home is here. Okay? There's the property line. This yellow here is what was proposed as the rec department expansion. Okay? This was everything that we talked about was going right there. Everything that we spent time on was going right there. Go one more slide, I think. Keep going, it's in there somewhere. Shannon. There we go. Okay. So again, the cloverleaf ball field, a football field, everything that you currently put in the new plan is right there. Okay. What you'll notice though, around there is a lot of green space. A lot of green space. There's not total destruction of the trees. Okay? Go back to the other slide if you will. The one that go up. No, the other one. So not only around the yellow area, okay, but everything from here forward was green space. So when I left you 4 years ago, there was a concern for me about how close that was encroaching my property. Again, because as I know all of y'all as friends, you made me chairman of that board. So I wouldn't have to worry about it. It's not an issue. Those fields, proposed fields, which makes sense, they're this close to the existing, okay? This area now, with your 2,500 foot road, is almost a half a mile from the proposed fields. Now, this whole area here, even close to this rec department here, is, some say 1,000 acres, some say 1,200 acres. Let's say 1,000 plus. You took 1,000 acres of possible places to put this field, this expansion, okay? And you put it right here. Right there, in my backyard. I've had some of you at my property. Right now, if this is the edge of where it's cut, yes, you're in a 100-foot buffer. Thank you very much. Okay, you can look at that right there, and you can see the shingles of my house. And we're in full foliage right now. Full foliage. In about 4 or 5 months, those fields are going to be looking at my house. Not to mention, we're going to see a video in a minute. My house sits here, excuse me. There's some woods here, but we shoot about right there. About twice a week. Pistols, rifles, whatever you want to call it. Within our legal rights. Federal firearms license holder, Class 3 license holder, we do a lot of shooting. When we did this black and blue here, it's a bike trail. We ride bikes. I mean, it's a great idea. There's a big difference between where this was going to be and where it is now versus a bike trail, somebody stopping to have a picnic lunch, coming through on a bike, using the bathroom, whatever, than where we are now. Go to this, number 2. You're going to see a video that I took today. Actually, my son took today. I haven't seen the video. I hope that it's okay. This is a drone shot that we took over the property today. From my property, I don't know what part of my house you're going to see. I don't really care. Compared to where the property is.
Is it 2.2.0 or 2?
It doesn't matter. One's going out, one's going in from the house. About a 15-second video. Okay, so you can pause it. Can you pause it? Go back and pause it. You're going to go back so you can catch the house. Keep going. Keep going. Please. Okay, stop. Okay? Here's my home. We have a nice home. Okay? I work for it. We have a nice home. The property line is probably about right here. Okay? We shoot right here. Okay? Your 100-foot buffer, you know, somewhere right in here, fine. Someone should have called. You guys have 1,000 acres plus to work with. You put this in my backyard. If you only had 15 acres to play with, 20 acres to play with, I get it. But you didn't. Now I've been over the notes. Everything that I can have access to. Go ahead and do the other one. You wait run now. I'll show you the difference here of the construction process. There's a big difference, stop. There's a big difference between a lot of green space there and, you know, that I know you said there's trees there. Yeah, there are. You're fine right there. But this is where these fields are going to be. Go back one more time. I know you've got things to do that are more important than this right now, but I'm just going to tie up 5 minutes. Okay. So your original proposal was one field here and one field here. Those 2 fields are right here. You say, well, that's fine, but you've got a tremendous amount of light coming in here, light pollution. You've also got noise here, noise pollution. When these leaves are off the trees during the football season, soccer season, those lights are shining in my house. Let it run. Here we go. Got one more video.
Number 3.
No, the other number 2. It's close, very close. Now the road that you see there is 2,500 feet. That's a half a mile, 0.473 something miles. And then do the last video, if you can. It should. The one is number 3. This is standing at the property line. I didn't get one back toward the house where the shingles are. But that's what it looks like standing where a few of you stood the other day. Probably about, well, I guess right at 100 feet off the property line. I appreciate y'all's time today. I know that you have a proposal here on different field options, and you know, to say I appreciate and thank y'all for trying to come up with some different plan options, Chairman Turner, is an understatement. This area that we're looking at here, let's call it the cove. There's an area back there just kind of dips in. We can plant some trees back in there, okay? It ain't gonna happen overnight. But I don't want anything right there. This is not an option for me. I live there. I don't always agree with what y'all do. I never have, I never will, okay? But this is different. This is my home, okay? This is my family, and this doesn't go away. This is there forever. Affects property values. You know, affects my livelihood, affects my lifestyle, how we live back there. And I would hope that in your discussion about this and finding a field or whatever it is you guys have to do here, that you would move these fields. Get them out of my backyard. You know, I will pay for and go out there with my own 2 hands to plant trees back in there. Okay? That's how it is for me. My family will go do that. I'm a proponent of sports. Okay, there's nothing we need more in this community, this county, than the rec department to be improved. You know, we probably have the worst rec department in our area. Truth be told, we do a lot of travel ball, not the department, but the fields. I should rephrase that. We have a great rec department, but the fields themselves, the facilities, are not the best. Y'all know that. That's why we're doing this. But I didn't plan on having to come before you as a property owner with this in my backyard. Farthest thing from my mind. I fell asleep, and I shouldn't have, but I didn't think I needed to. I felt like you guys, somebody, one of you, 2 of you would have come to me and said, hey, this has been changed. They are now 100 feet from your property, and you need to be made aware of it, and you need to get involved real quick. Those that I've talked with have said, we had no idea how close it was, John. And I believe you. I believe you, Travis and Craig. I mean, I believe you guys. Terry. But being there on the ground, looking at it, looking at my shingles gives you a different perspective. I would ask you guys to come take a look too. My house is right there. So, again, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you letting me come before you this afternoon. And I hope that y'all do the right thing.
Thank you.
Can I ask you something? Yes, Dr. Crunton, while you're up, so
Sorry.
we go back to that first video. I see the footprint.
Number 2.
I'm sorry, I'd already taken it out and handed it back to you.
I just want to see your property, how it lays the footprint of it in that first video. I think it was probably enough there. I saw where you're shooting. I just want to see. How many acres? I don't know how many acres you have now.
We have about 20 acres, but we built on the back corner because when we built the property, stop right there.
I understand.
Go back out.
I'm sorry,
We built in the back corner of the property knowing that, but you know,
Okay.
everything changes, but we
Sure.
we thought we were safe with 1,200 plus acres of state land there. Nobody's going to touch it. But we shoot, this is inclined down the hill. We shoot skeet out this way, and we shoot pistols down this way, different things like that.
Okay, so where's the rest of your property? You got house all around your property? I mean, property all around your house?
Yes, sir. So your property now, the county property goes here and goes that way. There's a neighbor here and a neighbor back over here. Our property is going this way.
Okay.
Your
driveway is.
This is, there's nobody that lives here, so when this is the dead end of the driveway. We just have a circle loop up
Okay,
there.
okay.
This whole property was owned by Wallace Allen. It's about 90 to 100 acres. He lives over in Hiawassee.
Okay.
He and his son John had talked about developing this, back in 2000 to about somewhere in there. So the roads are all laid out, the lots are laid out, and that little turnaround was where there'd be 3 or 4 houses up there. And then we bought 20 of the acres from them.
Before you pull that out, Shannon, let it roll, and Commissioner Nix had a question. Let it roll over till it kind of pans out.
Yeah, Mike, you are candidate 1. Show us where the
Stop.
Sorry.
I'm not yelling at you.
No, it's okay.
That's a joke, everybody. That was
Kind of show us where the new design that y'all were talking, that you showed us, kind of show us how it lays on this.
You have to pan it back out. Let it roll back the other way, Shannon, so you get the whole shot in there.
I mean, it looks like the clearing just goes up to a
It
point.
goes, it's
Keep
going to go
going.
to that burn
It's there.
pile.
Keep
You
going.
see that burn
So
pile?
you've got
Right
the
to
field.
the left of that burn pile is where the new
You
field will
have
be.
field here, the old proposal is field here and field here.
No, they go the other way.
Your new proposal is here, right? Or
That's
right
right.
there.
Show us, kid. Somebody show us.
staff, stand up and somebody.
Somebody do something.
From a mass grading standpoint, this is the field, and then the water line's right there.
Okay.
The new water line's right there.
What's the new proposal of the field that we're looking at?
This is-
Football. We're
this is
talking about
field-
football field.
This is football field number 2.
Okay.
So the option 2 that you're looking at would just keep this field, and this field would go away.
Okay. The baseball fields are back there.
And the baseball fields are
Up
back.
with the tractors on.
So the closest point to his property line is where it goes in right there. Right, it goes into a point. Right?
Yeah, this
That is
is,
still the same as
This
this,
isn't that.
correct?
What they
So,
have is not this.
Right here's.
This would be a better idea. That's your 100-foot buffer. This is where you stop grading. There are markers all the way through here, so they would have a visual to stop grading. The property lines. Yes.
here it is. This is,
Well, that's what we need to do, is plant trees at Greenlee, not at his cost, but our cost, which we would do that on Yonah Valley roadside anyway.
part, I hate to have to get it up.
You see, that field right there, it's right there. This field, the second ball field, would be right here. So those are the limits of clearing.
So if we put the field here, then this field is how far from 100 feet here? We're 500 feet now?
There's the corner of this, the corner of the grade, total slope is 540 feet from the corner of his house.
From the corner of the house, say that one more time.
is gonna be
540 feet from the corner.
Corner of my house, not from the property line. That's a big difference.
Take 100 foot off that, it'd be
Shannon,
440.
move this up. Can you slide this up a little bit?
I can't move this.
I didn't bring my crayons tonight.
Yeah, it's a video, it's not a PDF, so you
If
can't
you have tape, this is,
drag it.
see, there's the ball field that you see right here, right there.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just trying to get the relation where we put the field here, how far from here, which is right here,
That's right.
to here, to the tree line there.
Well, I think the question is, what can be done here?
342 feet.
What can be done here, because it looks, I'd love to see that.
Shannon, go to the
You bring
next
your crayons, you
video.
bring your crayons
If you don't
tonight?
mind. Next video may show a better panoramic view of that. Please.
All right, now bingo, let's get it.
All right, stop.
All right, come here, Doc. Stop it right there. Come here, Doc. Show me where your property line's at right now in comparison to this.
Well, if we could see through the trees, it's about right here. so.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. I'm saying the clearing that's there kind of comes to a point. It's not the whole thing that's obstructing you. It just kind of comes to a point, and your property line kind of lays like the bottom of the screen, right? So is there any way we could come in here and maybe plant some cypress,
Evergreen.
get some growth back in this corner right here?
Here's my thought, since you're asking me. Keep going, Shannon. Stop.
I'm sorry, there's a delay between
That's
I
okay.
hit the mouse
So
and.
just, okay, let's stop there, let's stop there. Okay, go back a little bit if you can.
I can. I think it's easier going back than forward.
Thank you, Shannon. Okay, stop there. You know, in all the minutes that I read, one thing that Commissioner Bryant has said is, I'd love to have some green space, someplace for people just to go, without having it so structured. Again, you have all this acres, guys. You have all this extra acres that you could have, should have, would have done something with.
One thing that you need, and I want
I know the
Kevin, I
terms.
want you to say this for the record. The studies that you guys did, that you undertook, that of the 1,000 acres, I'm using round numbers here, you can correct me if I'm wrong, 20 to 25% of the 1,000 acres or so was buildable.
That's right.
Because of the ridge, the topo, am I?
Rock, the potential rock, the terrain, the slopes. It's unfortunate we're in this situation. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that. I mean, trying to be a good neighbor. But this is the only flat spot we can find big enough to build these fields. You can see it on the plan right over there on the existing terrain. It's just really the only flat spot. The rest of it would have been cost prohibitive because of the slopes and the terrain, potential rock. We found groundwater in the detention pond. And it's just a tough place to build ball fields.
Is there any cut in this field that if we go to this new design, how much cut's in that field? Is it got to cut and come back toward the baseball fields, or is it pretty flat there?
It's pretty flat. I mean, it's by far the flattest place we found out there.
Well, what I'm hearing up here, and I know we've got some decisions to make, I feel confident in all 5 commissioners here. Number 1, want to be good neighbors, but number 2, understand that we're going to need to plant green space back along the property, along the undisturbed buffer If I'm incorrect here or not, if that's not what I'm interpreting, please tell me.
I think that's what we're.
Well, I think it sounded like Evan was talking about planting more than what I was considering. I was considering that we would come down the 100-foot buffer line and just plant that pretty heavy in
Kind
there.
of, yeah, put that heavy in that triangle there to.
Well, even, yeah.
Was
you
there
can
gonna
get
be lights on
far.
that football field?
Hmm?
Was there gonna be lights on that football field?
No,
No.
there's no lights planned for those fields at this time.
There's no,
And the-
for the
and the
football
For
field,
the football, pardon?
for the football.
For the
field,
football
For the
field,
baseball,
yes.
softball complex,
Yeah.
that's built into the
Yes.
contract, correct?
Right.
Here's the way that works, so there was no fields planned here 4 years ago either. So it's easy to sit there and say there's no lights planned right now because of money. But in a matter of 3 or 4 years, there'll be lights on that field. You're not gonna spend this kind of money, this kind of expansion, and do these improvements and not put lights on the field. Let's be realistic here. There's gonna be lights on those fields. Not day one, but, yeah, future. Again, I appreciate those things.
Thanks, Dr. Cummings.
Joe, question. I asked this before, and you told me we could. Why can't we play football on the baseball fields? Because I wanted them, I wanted 4 300-foot, but you talked us into 250 and 3. So if you got a 300 part, why can't you play football on baseball?
I don't want to play
No,
football.
I'm talking about as big as that is. I mean, we've
that-
talked about, is it not feasible enough on them 300-foot
You
fields?
can put a practice field on there, Mr. Commissioner, but you cannot put a game field on.
Okay, I'm just, that's why I asked.
Yeah, the width of it is 53 yards, so about 160 feet wide, and that's just the playing surface. You got another 20 yards on either side that got your teams. It's 140 yards or 120 yards long, so 360 feet long, not counting your end zone or outside the end zone areas. And you've got areas for bleachers, your score tower and all that stuff. So it would physically it'd be, especially since you've already got chain link for your baseball field, you couldn't get it in there.
Now, is it not correct that the turf on the baseball field is going to be different than the turf for a football field?
Yes and no. You can play on both, but you will
gotta run for
replace more playing football on it than you will baseball on it, just because of the way the kids move and everything else. We have trouble with them now just standing and digging in spots. That's what causes the holes in the outfield.
Well, and one thing, the type fields in the project on the baseball softball complex that we are looking to develop are going to be nice.
Oh, I know, and that's what I just asked. I remember asking a question before, when we was first doing this, talking about this. Plant some soybean back there and deer hunt on. So each one of your cars nailed at night to a night hunt?
Lime in you.
Okay. All right, okay. Yeah, one of the commissioners asked going downhill in a hurry now.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Gentlemen,
That's a good presentation. Give him credit.
I don't know how to say it, but what do you want to do on item 5?
I don't think it's, I mean, we can't move the location of what we've already done here. I think the only option we have is to try to come together and plant trees, make some kind of buffer. I don't know if we can turn that field any other way, that one proposed field any other way, to put it closer to the tree line there on the other side. Turn it a different way to get it further away from Dr. Customer's property. Plant more trees there than we anticipated. I know we want to be good neighbors, but there was a reason we put it there. I guess I wasn't thinking when we decided, when we figured out that we were gonna have to move it because of the topo, all the potential rock and everything. Maybe I should have considered property owners that were gonna be affected by it. I didn't think there was any that close.
No, I didn't know. I thought all those issues were resolved.
And that's just an oversight on my part.
Well, one thing I'd like.
It goes back to the point that we talked about one field. It goes back to the point that we did talk about the one field.
I don't remember that second field. I know it's on one drawing.
Well, I think I remember us just saying we'll do it, we'll like rep it in and just have the spot graded out for potential use down the road.
Well, regardless of what we do here, before I ask for any type of motion, one thing I'd like to see in the motion is for us as the county, along the Yonah Valley subdivision, I'm gonna call that Parkway, over to Crumpton and Nouse property lines, staff to come back to us with a forestry plan along that area, regardless of whatever we decide tonight. I think that's reasonable, considering I think everyone's hearts on this. All right, Jill, how do you want to design the football field? Do we, based upon the presentation that Mr. Melton has on his table, with the contingent upon coming back with the forestry plan?
I think, I would recommend, and I'll make a motion that we do the one field based on that plan that Mike has over there, that John fixed up, and that we reforest some of that area down there, especially along the edge of our setback. That is some of the thinnest vegetation in that area over there that I've saw around the edges of the side over there. And John, granted, we got 1,000 acres out there to build on, but that 1,000 acres is not all equal. It's not all equal. There's only a small portion of it that is really feasible for this type of project. So I hate the fact that we've encroached so close that it makes you feel uncomfortable. But I think putting this one ball field in that location right there, that we'll come up with our best solution, and we'll still be some 300 some odd feet away from your property line, 540 feet away from your house. And I'll make a motion that we go with that layout.
All right, Commissioner Goodrow, motion. You want to second it for discussion?
Yeah, I'll second for discussion. Can you keep that picture there, Shannon? If I get up and walk over, will that picture be there when I get time? That's the question I want to ask. You got a topo, is that a topo? Does that show the topo? I guess my question is, if we're talking about the proposal of the field this way, right? Everybody nodding in affirmative. Is there any way we could maybe take a little more of this out and square this up and maybe pull this end of this field back around a little bit? Or does the grade allow for that at the topo?
On either side.
Well, putting trees is gonna be added cost.
There's the water line.
So show me here where this water line's coming in.
See that line right there? See the water line coming right.
Not this one.
So it's gonna run parallel with the road.
Shannon, were you trying to
Parallel
Back up a little bit.
go up, move it, where we can see the football place again?
You want to go? Which
Just
way?
scrub backwards.
Just scroll back.
Scrub.
Scroll it back. All right, hang on right there. Now show me where the water line comes up through here.
That's right. You can
Okay.
see the corner of the field right here.
So this is Mark's property then?
That's right. This is the mouse property. It comes right through there, and right over, see that terrain up there? That's a slope. So we'd be cutting back into the bank.
What about on the other side? Hey, what about that?
Building that up.
So we're gonna make cut into this field, we're gonna be cut right in here with that field.
It's going to be built up around the upper edge right here, and this edge is not.
And the water line's literally, just look at the tree line. That's the water line.
Well, I know the water line's going in now. I mean, my people inspect the water lines now, so I know they're.
This is, the way this is sitting right here versus the engineering design that's on the books, this is no cost.
Up front.
The question I have is, obviously, we're not gonna take the fields out. Obviously, making the decisions that y'all made, sounds good. Obviously, we didn't do our due diligence and we weren't as well educated with something of this magnitude as maybe y'all should have been. But with all that being said, I would ask that they get moved. I would ask that they get put on the other side of that ball field. I appreciate what the engineer said here. But there's other areas to put it. I'm sorry, but there's more than, it may be the cheapest way to do it, okay? But doing it the cheap way affects people, affects friendships. But if we're gonna put the field in the way that we put it, all I ask is it not have any lights there. And I think that would be
But you have what?
no lights.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be a day use field only for as long as the sun lights up. And I don't think that's asking much, but under the circumstances, everything that y'all disclosed about not doing your due diligence, not understanding how close it is to my home, that's the least you can do.
You were the second for discussion. You go over your discussion. Okay. All right. In that motion, you did have the forestry.
Yes, I
You know
did.
why, Ms. Shanda helped me out here.
Yes.
We had the forestry.
The one field with the revised design, reforesting the property as much as possible.
We need to consult with
And if we need to add to it, that there be no lights on this field, we could do that.
Would you want to amend your motion? to that
I'll do
effect?
that we make this a daytime field only.
Do you agree to that?
I agree.
Second.
So, in discussion, so what we still, you said, Kevin, it was, I mean, all this has been figured in the price anyway.
That's right.
So what, jumping one number ahead, like Chairman says, we approved this and we're voting on to approve it again, to do the actual.
Well, this is the
Yeah, I know that.
location.
Yeah,
Then the next item,
yeah.
we gotta approve that next time.
And the doc makes a good point, though. I mean, I'm not siding on the sides, but of course, you know, we've all been out, world's been out there, and it's,
So can I add just for clarification
Sure.
purposes?
So, I'm fixing to close, yes, I'm gonna close the floor and vote.
So this field is going in as designed.
yeah.
This area where the second field is we're gonna work on a stabilization, reforestation plan.
Yes.
For the second
In
field
the
is.
And we need to talk to the forester, or talk to somebody with Georgia Forestry and get this faster growing, stuff that we can put out there.
Okay. And then there's no light, which we don't have lights on this, even with that current price to upgrade to the sports turf and irrigation. We still don't have lights on this field in the contract at all.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Correct. All right. Closed discussion, I have the first and the second. Ms. Shannon, do I need to go over?
I think I've got everything.
Okay.
One field,
Oh.
reforestation.
Well,
and
let
lights.
her read that motion back, please, Shannon.
Okay, Commissioner Goodger made a motion that we would only do one field with the revised design that's labeled as option 2 from Carter and Sloop. And there'll be no lights, it'll be, day use only.
Along with the forestry plan?
Mhm.
All right. Okay, closed discussion, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. And that's going to be a segue to item 6, which is consider approval of cost estimate provided by Charles Black Construction for the finishing off one football field, of which we have discussed already in your packet. Mr. Hamby, have you got the deal on this?
Again, this is, we've got a construction update meeting where we can start ironing this out with Charles Black Construction next week. But the price that you see before you is to upgrade the ball field to a regulation football field. That'll be the irrigation system, the fine grading, the laser grading, all those kind of things, the sports turf. And that will be to, like I said, bring it up to that level. And that's just for one field. Otherwise, it's just gonna be kind of graded, very similar to like a residential yard.
All right. Gentlemen, you've got that information in your packet. Just to be simple and straight up, and Mr. Hamby, correct me if I'm wrong, the motion would need to include contingent upon funds be available in the contingency with our current contract with Charles Black Construction to make sure that we have the ability to finish the field.
Right, that's a very,
Under the scope of the whole contract, correct?
right, that's a very important point, because we're definitely not, as far as grading goes and rock and groundwater and those kind of things, we're not out of the woods yet, no pun intended.
I got a question. I got a question right here on this proposal that I see here. Have a maintenance program down there, and they got $7,000. Is that just a one-year maintenance program, or is that?
It is.
Yeah, that's only a one-year maintenance program.
It's a one-year maintenance program to cover the warranty on the turf. That's chemicals and everything that you did to get the turf established and going.
Just for clarification, what I heard you say is, this 121 is in contingency if we've got some left over in the contract. Is that what I understood you saying?
That's correct. If we do not have it, this item will have to come back before the board for approval and to find another funding source if the board so desires to do so.
Okay, so this field could be done and then this field could not be done.
We don't know for a few
Yeah.
months.
That's
Correct, Kevin?
100%
I understand
correct.
that right.
Yes, sir, that's 100% correct.
Yes.
But my understanding is from Mr. Hamby and Mr. Stover, Charles Black needs some type of guidance regarding if this is the board's direction where to go, correct, so they can be in preparation of such, correct?
Well, they'll need to, there'll be a point that there'll be almost like a point of no return, that if you don't do it by a certain date, we'll have better information on that Tuesday.
Okay.
Well, that was my point. So you want us to prove something under contingency, and then 60 days from now, they get to the point and say, well, we're not real sure, we're close, so then let's go ahead and do it. Then we've got to come back and vote to find the funds. So I'm basing my vote on, is it gonna cost us, or we're gonna, I mean, are you getting what I'm laying down? You
I
getting
know
what I'm laying
exactly.
down?
Yeah, Commissioner Brown, I'm with you 100%. That means we don't have to, if you approve this motion today, that means when it's time to do this, we don't have to come back for you for additional costs.
If the funds are available
If the
in
funds are available.
contingency.
If the funds are available within the current contract.
And if you're not, that's when you're gonna come and say, it's still gonna cost extra 100,000. We're figuring 100,000 on the hope that we're gonna have the 100,000 left over. I guess that's what I'm basing that on.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
But then the board can make decisions. We can't financially finish the field.
Or it might be 40,000. We might not have 40,000.
Yeah, you know how the government is with mines there.
Or something else may come up. 29.
We might have
I don't know anything today or second.
We might have more left over than 121,000.
Yeah. Okay. All right,
I have before, Evan.
You got where you come full trouble.
I'm sorry, I just question. I mean, I'm just trying to make sure I understand this, so, and I do now.
okay.
I'm through.
I'm good.
All right, so, yes, sir.
I'll make a motion that we approve the pricing that Charles Black gave us on this football field, 121,885, as long as it's within our current contingency in the project.
Under the contract, Charles Black Construction. All right, do I have a second?
I'll see.
Okay. Any discussion? Having none in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no.
No.
Motion carries 4-1. Thank you. Commissioner Bryant. Item 7, we're still in the same vein. Consider approval of the lighting service contract agreement with Georgia Power for Yonah Preserve. Mr. Melton, Mr. Hamby, who has the deal on that?
I'll let Mr. Hamby continue, he's doing such a great job.
You're taking the drill tonight. Ain't you?
This is for the roadway lighting and the respect to parking lot lighting. It doesn't come close to the ball field in question. This is just to light the roadway coming into the park and into the parking lot. Basically security lighting at night.
And this is the lighting service agreement. Correct me if I'm wrong, the information has already been allocated within the budget with Charles White Construction. This item's actually it's the actual agreement that we as a board are agreeing to, correct?
It is.
All right.
With the exception of the monthly.
Monthly fee, that will come into our general fund.
But now this is the agreement for the roadway lighting and parking lot lighting. And we're actually under budget.
I was gonna say, didn't we figure more than?
We figured 160. We're picking up a little extra money here.
Need some good news somewhere, thank you. All right, I'll keep it simple, gentlemen. Do I have a motion to approve the lighting service agreement with George Power?
So moved.
Commissioner Nix first. Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Commissioner Hoffman second. Any discussion? Having all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say no. Motion carries. Item 8, different subject. Consider approval of renewal of contract with Chattahoochee Group for landscaping services at Freedom Park. Mr. Payne, Mr. Melton, who has the deal on that?
All right, Mr. Chairman. In your packet, you have a contract with the Chattahoochee Group to continue the maintenance at Freedom Park if you so desire. They've done a good job so far, and I would recommend that we continue to use that.
And this is no additional cost, the same dollar contract?
Same as last year's contract.
And we have, how much is that?
I'm actually for the, and just so, just point of record, we have been with Chattahoochee Group since the original construction of Freedom Park.
We have.
I'll say for myself, I seem to be very pleased. Freedom Park has become a destination point, especially in the city of Cleveland. Still waiting for that thank you letter from the city of Cleveland would be great, but it's created a nice downtown ambiance. But gentlemen, I do want to, as a point, if you would like to go out for bid, we have the legal right to do so. Correct, Mr. Melton, am I right on that?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
So, my question is, what's your pleasure?
I think that since, we haven't had an increase in it and they were satisfied with the product that they're providing for us here, and I would recommend we continue with them.
Okay. I have a motion from Commissioner Goodger, is that correct?
Yes.
To review the contract with Chattahoochee Group for landscape services at Freedom Park. Do I have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Commissioner Nix for discussion.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
How much do you do on that Freedom Park? How
None.
much does your people do?
We do nothing. They're 100, they take care of it 100%
They do
for us.
trash, they do everything?
They do everything, all the weeding of the beds, yeah. All the treatment of the stuff. What, I'm sorry, we do take the trash out twice a week, yeah.
Good, I just want
Yeah.
to make that point of
And
clarification.
how often do they come by and they go through Freedom Park?
Twice a week during the cutting season,
Okay.
yeah.
There's no doubt about it, it's beautiful. I don't know, I like, I check my house insurance every year, I like to keep everybody honest as far as good price, good quote. It's wonderful when you get anything cheaper.
We bid
Or
that
the
last
city
year,
would like-
remember?
We've offered the city to let them maybe pay for it 1 year, and that's good staggered terms. It benefits the city a lot.
Yes, it does.
You going on record with that?
I
But
said it.
a concern I would have, just to be real, is keeping that same level of service. What if they went somewhere else?
I know.
That would be a,
Well, and the thing about it is, if we was to have to bring them back, then I'm pretty sure it would cost us more to bring this crowd back, and they are doing a good job. I stick with my second.
okay.
I wasn't opposed.
We'll argue, you'll argue.
All right, any other discussion? Funding source, do we have this out of general fund?
Yes.
Excuse me. Closed discussion, have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, item 9. Consider revisions to the current SPLOST road project timeline. And before, folks, just as Dave's coming up, we do have an executive session for personnel matters that we'll be going to at the end of our agenda. So I'm just bringing that to everyone's attention. Dave, you have the Hill, and that's going to be item tab 9 in our books.
Okay, thank you. You should have in your packet the spreadsheet for the approved SPLOST project status options. What I wanted to do is I wanted to clarify the roads and the paving. I went ahead and gave an option A that we preferred, and option B that's a little more aggressive, maybe a little more complicated. If we could jump to like the highlighted areas, you can see that Sam Craven's highlighted due to the grading contractor's availability to start. He can't start till maybe July or August. That's going to put us in a bad place. Okay, that was my recommendation. And then if you look at Joe Franklin, same thing. That really needs to go to 19 because he can't start either till probably September. So that's going to be a push. When you look at Asa Dorsey, that's highlighted due to the availability that, you know, we, the county, we're doing the prep and the asphalt. As soon as we can catch up with the culvert repairs and the grading that we did with all the, you know, from the storm, we can jump on that. I just want to make it clear though that I can do everything in my power to get the highlighted areas paved this year, but we have paving contractors out of availability and the weather. I will do everything in my power to get them paved this year. So I'm recommending option A at this point.
How confident do you feel the contractor will be able to get to, if we were hypothetically to go with option A and move the paving as what you guys have recommended on option A, paving to spring of 2019? How confident do you feel more confident that the contractors will be able to get on those roads and get them prepped by November? That way we don't have to worry about the paving.
As far as the Sam Craven and Joe Franklin, I mean, I got with them so many times,
Okay.
and they just can't start.
I know it's rained every day for the last, feels like 6 months.
Plus, they took other jobs, you know, waiting, and now they're trying to get in. So, but if Nelson can get it done, if I can squeeze that in, I will try the best. You know, and I'll
Nelson,
do
the
it.
contractor on Craven Road.
Excuse me?
Nelson, the contractor on Craven Road.
Yes, sir.
And who is the contractor on Joe Franklin?
Crumley Creek.
Okay. Well, everybody here knows how I feel about it.
I will say this weekend I had several, and I was actually surprised at the number of comments I received. And I know it's your district, Commissioner Hoffman. Folks on Sam Craven Road, they had seen the headlines, and they were afraid they had been taken completely off the list, even for paving. And I tried to share with them that it's due to the rain, that there is a possibility that we were going to be discussing prepping this fall with the spring paving, but that the item itself has been approved. It's just our timeline. And some of the individuals understood because they used to work for EMC that it's rained every day for the last 6 months.
Just a delay.
So I'm just sharing that with you.
I'll talk to a couple.
Thing, let's get back to Dandy Lane. I know we talk about this every meeting. That boy's gonna open that motel before this year's over with. He's gonna have it paved. He's gonna have to do the paving. He's gotta get with you, get the road with. I know it's gotta be paved from A to B. So I'm gonna go back to B to C again, to the Helen Shop. Are you gonna be doing that short stick in front of Sims' property up to that curve? Or are you gonna hire that out?
We're gonna do that.
Okay, so now my next question is, why can we not piggyback on the back of when this boy starts?
That's the intent, Commissioner.
Well, I know, but we got down spring of 19.
Well,
It's what he's wanting to ask for now. It seems like every year, and this no disrespect, we go through this. We always wait August, September, October, and then we don't get nothing paid. It's like,
Well,
no disrespect to the road department. I'm saying this every year.
yeah, we put spring of 19 on there because we don't know.
I know that.
We don't know when
that.
that.
Why don't you share the story that you've reached out to see it?
I talked to Jerry Elkins last week, and he has no idea when they're going to pave that road. And they can't tell me. And Mr. Patel is out of the country. Tried to contact him. So we don't know. So really, if you want to just draw a line through that spring of 19 and put a question mark, that would be the best thing to do, because we don't know. We just put that down as a place marker, but we don't know when we're going to do that. That's really up to the contractor.
Commissioner Holcomb makes a pretty good point. Seems like the board seems to be worried more about this than the property owners in the city of Eleanor. So it seems to me like we need to have a powwow somewhere, find out what's going on. Somebody needs to know. We can't go in there and do ours first, can we?
Has Jerry told you something different, Greg?
No, I've talked to the mayor, and again, I'm not dogging road department. I hate to be the horse's ass tonight, excuse my language, and I know we're on tape, but I've asked on this road for 6 months, what's going on? And then I make a comment that I'm gonna call tomorrow, and I'm gonna find out who owns that property, and 2 o'clock that next afternoon, I got an email with 2 names. So, you know, it's like, we seem like we just keep dragging and dragging. And like I say, it's just a comment. I'm sorry to get off the cue here, but it's like it's 30 more days. That's all I got to say. I ain't saying nothing else.
Well, Commissioner, we can't really do anything until the contractor pays his portion.
I know that. So you heard my comment.
All right. Gentlemen, we have got options A and option B. Option A, you guys can see it in front of you, and we can have this readily available. It's very, very detailed. I won't read every item, but essentially it would move some of the roads to paving in spring of 2019 instead of fall of 2018. You guys have heard the reasons why. Everybody's behind. It's as simple as that. What's your pleasure, gentlemen? Option A or option B, or motion to do nothing?
Well, if the rain keeps on coming, the motion to do nothing might work pretty good. So that may be what we're doing. Yeah, I'm okay with A, and I'll go back to a comment that I made about the one that's in my Stanley Nicks Road. If you can see a window pushing it back 30 days till another round of SPLOST money comes in, I don't have a problem with it. But I'll make a motion that we go with option A.
Okay, Commissioner Nix, make a motion to go with option A. Do I have a second?
I'll second that discussion on the Ace Dorsey we talked about last week, just doing a base on it. When are we gonna be able to do that base?
We're just lacking one.
Just giving that one, okay.
We need that easement.
Okay.
And
We're still working on
yeah, let me just clarify something else too. Just so there's no confusion on Shepherd Drive, we're still waiting. We're waiting on a funding source.
And I'm still waiting, that's my fault.
On Shepherd Drive, so.
I've sent her 2 emails and she had, no, 1 email and 1 text, and she hadn't called me back, but she's notorious for waiting long.
Some of these things are out of our hands.
I'll get it, just give me a little more time, I'll get it.
Any other discussion? Having none in favor of the motion by Commissioner Nix, second by Commissioner Holcomb, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dave. Item 10, Ms. Jody, our Finance Director, present the monthly financial status report. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This will be the financial report for
Let's
May.
pull your microphone over to you, please.
This will be the financial report for May 2018. Revenues received for the month were $529,619. Expenditures, $1,592,129. May being the 11th month of the budget year, our year-to-date percentages should be at 92%, and as you can see, our revenues sit at 93%, our expenditures 89%. Alcohol taxes and fees for the 11 months of the budget year, the license fees collected $38,719, excise tax $75,412, for a yearly total of $114,131, and that is 99% receipt of the budget. Tablet tax received for the month of May, $93,643, for a budget year total of $853,177, and that's 109% receipt.
One day, someone's going to have to do some type of thesis paper on this tablet tax. It's going to continue to grow while our birthday tax decreases. How in the world can we continue to buy so many brand new vehicles, or just vehicles in general, because everything's taxed?
That's the biggest tablet tax we've had since its inception, looks like.
Did they, and they're gonna be changing the ratio of that?
Changing the ratio.
What, January, July 1st?
Yes, the county's percentages are going up.
How much, do we know what that percentage is? It was in there, it was voted on as a percentage, wasn't it?
Yes. And I can't think of it right off the top of my head. I think it's 60 to 65%.
I think that's what it was.
I think they're going to 65%, I believe, but I have to go back.
And what is it now?
60, I believe.
So 5% increase.
About December 100.
I'm sorry.
But don't quote me on that.
Those folks are going to quote you. You're sitting
No,
there.
I said I think.
Okay, the lost sales tax collected for May, $210,612, for a budget year total of $2,369,359, and that's 102% receipt. Hotel motel tax for the month of May, $68,680, for a budget year total of $831,875. That's 119% receipt of what was budgeted.
That's just 11 months, right?
Yes. SPLOST collected for the month of May, $351,020. After the 1% admin fee and the Cleveland and Helen portions in our debt service funds, we were able to account for $157,158 to the county's project fund. And we should have the June numbers next week. It'll be the last week of June. And for the 2018 calendar year, we've received $1.688 million for the SPLOST, and that puts us at a 2014 program receipt of $13,676,145. The separate funds, the revenues and expenditures are listed. Solid waste is at 86%. 911, 91%, Drug Task Force, 89%, and ANODA, 78%. And again, this time of year, the 11th month should be at 92%.
One thing I'd like for you to do is hop back to the hotel motel,
Okay.
please. And I'm not trying to throw anybody a curveball, that's not it, but you look at hotel motel through the end of May, we had received 831 grand. All right, we still got one more month to go. Hypothetically, it's $60,000-$70,000. Hypothetically, good chance to push us nearly 900. In the budget that we just passed, for the next fiscal year, we only budgeted for $805,000. So through the end of May, we've already met. If you look at a prorated portion and numbers continue to hold strong, we should receive more money in 2018-19 than what we have budgeted for. If, keyword, if the economy holds strong. So what I'm saying, we may have been, we try to be conservative. That goes back to Commissioner Bryant's comment earlier. We try to be conservative on our numbers. There's an example of perhaps slightly under.
But that is an in and out fund, so there's no distribution other than the
Understand
current
that.
percentages.
Understand, but we've underestimated in our proposed budget a little bit.
Well, and it goes right along with SPLOST numbers
Right.
too. They usually go together, so.
So if we continue to market our community as a destination point, you know, Helen with our new locations, Dr. Crumpton's location, we're marketing our area for tourism, a destination point, and the chamber is sitting here. You know, we're number 3 most visited in number 3 in the state of Georgia, behind Atlanta and Savannah. We just need to continue keep beating that bell while we're at it. And Beth, thank you for what you guys do at the chamber. We appreciate that. Guys, do you have any other questions regarding the budget? Okay. All right. Moving on, before I move us into our executive session, at that time, folks in the audience, I do want to appreciate your time and spending your afternoon with us. I will ask Mr. Melton, do you have any comments or anything that we need to address while we're here as a body in a called meeting?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I do have one thing. And, I apologize for not getting this to you sooner. This was kind of the last minute deal. The sheriff, who is still here, thank goodness, had asked the board to consider this letter. Here's the original. Sheriff, you may want to address this.
Well, our funding for the drug task force, we probably got enough to last us to September grants we get. As you well know, I think the Department of the Sanctuary Cities, which being California, somewhere in California and Chicago, San Francisco, yeah, had filed a lawsuit against the Department of Justice. Well, when that happens, any federal monies going out for any programs goes on hold. So, you know, we're going to be hurting if they don't free up some of that money between now and September. But we've got some staff that are paid totally out of that. And, you know, the coverage of these 11 counties or so that we're serving is going to impact them tremendously. I've already sent letters to all the congressmen, and everybody I could write one to them in Washington. I sent them a letter this past Friday.
Anybody responded back to you yet?
Not yet.
And just for the record, Congressman Collins' mother passed away.
Right, I seen that.
And for those in the audience, what we have a letter that'll be addressed from the Board of Commissioners to Congressman Doug Collins, Senators Johnny Isakson and Senator David Perdue, requesting assistance. For those who don't attend our meetings on a regular basis, the Drug Task Force, I always refer to it as the Appalachian Drug Task Force, but it's the North
Regional
Georgia Regional NARDIO, the acronym. The Drug Task Force, for the last 2 years, correct me if I'm wrong, someone, has been completely self-supporting. They have not received any funding from the Board of Commissioners. That's kind of sad to say. They're self-supporting because of what the home runs they're hitting and pulling the drugs off the street, but at the same time, they're self-supporting. They're not, it's, no monies are coming out of the county's general fund to support their endeavors, correct, Sheriff?
Correct.
And this grant is very important in helping us do so. And if you've seen over the last year especially, it's been reported in the newspaper, the radio, and online. The Drug Task Force has hit a lot of home runs in North Georgia trying to get the drugs off the streets. Without a lot of further ado, gentlemen, I would like to have a motion from the board that we, and actually the letter will be coming from us as a board, all 5 of us, a motion to endorse a letter to our U.S. representatives and senators asking for their assistance to the Drug Task Force in their funding during this.
Work, and I would encourage all the citizenry to find those phone numbers and emails and send them a letter, tell them, hey, I'll be playing games up there and get something done.
Sheriff, refresh my memory, how much money is that grant?
You would have that, around 400,
About $400,000.
435 or somewhere.
somewhere less than 500,000.
And that covers all the counties involved, right?
Yeah, all of them, the salary and yeah.
Gentlemen, do I have a motion to endorse that letter?
I'm making a motion to endorse it.
Commissioner Goodger, Commissioner Nix, any discussion? Have none in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say no. Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Sheriff, thank you, and we're actually going to be we're signing that letter now. So, Shannon, you need to get this. Who gets this? Need to mail it.
I'll mail it.
All right.
I got a question for Mike. Just
All right.
if he about the bids. We went out for bids on the solid waste.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. We're working on the contract and the bids.
Okay. And what about did the bids for the trailhead and the restroom go up? Did they hit the street or not?
I have not seen them from Mr. Stover.
Mr. Ham, have you seen anything yourself yet? Okay.
He said that was going to be out last week. So.
He said it was going to be out on Thursday.
Okay.
I have not seen
I'm going to do this because we're not, with July 4th coming up, we will not be having a regular meeting for the Board of Commissioners. I'm going to open the floor up and give anyone an opportunity who would like to say anything or public comments or questions. If we don't have an answer for you this evening, we'll have our staff work on that this week. If you've got anything you want to ask, comments, please raise your hand. You don't have to, but if you'd like to. Beth, the chamber, anything going on next few days? I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
That's okay.
I don't mean to,
part of our entrepreneurial support, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. Part of our entrepreneurial support is we have a QuickBooks training for new businesses. We also have a social media session for new entrepreneurs as well. So some little basics when you're getting your business started.
all right. Anyone else? Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate getting everyone's time. And gentlemen, do I have a motion to enter the executive session?
So moved.
Commissioner Hawkins first.
Second.
Commissioner Goodger second. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you, folks. We appreciate it. We're going to have to go behind closed door for the rest of the evening. So thank you very much.